Yes. So just a refresher, if anyone's just joining us now, I am Bumble. I am a community manager here at WB Games Boston. And I'm here to talk about one of my favorite subjects, a little game called Draft of Dragons. This is a companion sort of watch-along game that we released the framework for you guys to play your own games. Basically, it's similar in premise to fantasy football. You get to draft a team, but instead of football players, you have characters from House of the Dragon. You get dragons as well, and then you earn points for things like taking drinks, sitting on the Iron Throne, defeating enemies, all that good stuff. I score each episode after they air, and I post updates over in the Draft of Dragons channel. And we also have a big blog a big post on the blog that explains it all. If you haven't checked that out yet, maybe we could throw that into the bulletin, that link. There's also a great printout if you just want a little worksheet to print out and follow along. That's on there too. Yeah, that's the gist of it.
Cool.
So we have 3 episodes so far this season, and the scores so far are shaping up. So far, not actually very high point scoring. We haven't had a lot of outright battles. It's been a little bit of a slow burn, but so far King Aegon is in the lead, highest scoring character out of them all. He is primarily earning his points from ordering people to kill. He's sitting on the Iron Throne. He's been doing a bit of drinking as well, so that's really carrying him so far. He also is the only one that really gets to benefit from that sitting on the Iron Throne rule. Every time he sits in that chair, he gets 1 point as reigning monarch. However, if there's anybody who's not the reigning monarch who tries to take a cheeky little sit in the chair when he's not looking, they actually get 5 points. So I'm kind of excited to see if anybody might sneak in and steal some of those points throughout the rest of the season. Our second highest scoring character right now is Daemon. This is not a surprise to me. I think he was the highest scoring last season. He just does a lot of nefarious things. He's a great fighter. But surprisingly, so far, most of his points are coming from bribes or exchanging gold. He did quite a bit of that earlier on in the season, so that's carrying him right now. And his dragon, Craxius, is the highest scoring dragon right now, but the dragons aren't really doing much at the moment. They're only earning points for flying around. Where they really shine is once we start getting outright battles. They earn points for fire breath and killing people. They can do big sweeps.
Munch?
Yes, they can also munch. They get points for eating. But so far they haven't done a lot of that. They've just been flying around. So I'm excited for the rest of the season and hopeful we'll get to see more action from those guys because they can really turn the course of a battle. In the Draft of Dragons Discord channel, as I mentioned, I post scores there. There's a little spreadsheet if you are interested in following along or scoring yourself. There's a little calculator in there. You can make a copy of the sheet and add your teams in. It should automatically update the scores. You just have to pull in the new scores each week if you make a copy. And this is also the way that you can add your own house rules, or if you disagree with a call that I made, you are welcome to score it yourselves. You just go into the action log, make your changes, copy those into the weekly scores, and then the calculator should update. So you can really customize this if you have some ideas for how to spice up your own game.
Cool. Speaking of house rules, you've run many drafts for our internal team here at Boston, and you've experimented with those rule variants over the years. Could you talk more about that and the history of this watch-along companion game?
Yeah, for sure. We've been playing this for years. It was actually invented back when new seasons of Game of Thrones was airing. We do switch up the rules every year a little bit. We like to try new things. This year in particular, my experiment is faction points. I didn't put this into the blog because it's kind of experimental. I didn't want to throw an untested rule to you guys. But the gist is basically, all must choose a side. Right. We've got every character that you can draft is either Team Black or Team Green, and there are certain things that you can do that would earn points for your entire faction. So if you manage to gain an ally for your side, or if you kill an heir on the other side, that's going to earn points for every single person in the faction, even if they haven't been seen yet this season. So it's kind of a cool way to earn points. Unfortunately, right now it's really heavily stacked for Team Black. I'm hoping Team Green can get out there and start winning some allies, some hearts and minds. hopefully not too much air killing. I don't want to see these beloved characters die. But yeah, so you can really mix it up, whatever you think. If you want to call some like trick shots, if maybe someone gets shot in the knee with an arrow, that's 10 points. You can do stuff like that. We like to play around and see what things are fun. Yeah, and as far as history of the game, originally back when Game of Thrones was airing, I believe we called it Draft of Thrones instead. I know.
Oh wow, Game of Thrones.
Yeah, very
Draft
original. And I remember we used to all physically get together in a big room. We had a bunch of names and things that were taped up on a wall. And when it was your turn to draft your team, you walked up and you grabbed something off the board and went back and put it on your team. I think we actually have a picture that I found from June of 2017 that shows off that kind of physical version of the game. Now it's all digital, but back then we had physical cards that we pulled. We also had a few other rules. You'll see like you could pull a whole house onto your team. So I had House Karstark on there. We also only had 3 dragons in the entire show, so they weren't treated as separate as they are for Draft of Dragons. And I managed to pull 2 dragons onto my team. I think it was called Team Double Dragon. Very original name again. But we do get very into, maybe not myself, but everyone else has very creative names. They really get into it. There's a lot of really great puns that people do. And we also do banners. People come up with house words. You can, it's what you make it. So you can really get creative with it and have some fun. Give prizes for different things as well. And I think leaning into that competitive angle also really adds a great level of enjoyment to watching the show, because you just are so invested in these characters. I'll never forget one year I had Gilly on my team, and she's not really a character that gets a ton of screen time, but this year we had a rule that if you smile, you get a point, and Gilly was always smiling. So I would literally cheer when she would come on screen and do one smile and then disappear for the rest of the episode. And I was very invested in Gilly. So yeah, it's also a great way just to learn the names of characters. They all have similar names. It's great to know, like, oh, that's the Aegon that gets me points.
You mean Aegon 1, Aegon 2, and Aegon 3? Oh, no.
What? Yeah, it's very hard to keep track of them all. So this is kind of a nice way to be invested. Like, no, that's my Aegon. I know which Aegon is mine. So yeah, that's kind of the history of it.
That's great. Do you have like any other call outs before we end this? Because I don't think I have any other questions for you.
Yeah, actually, I did want to do a quick shout out. Just, give an example. I went over to our player council players who are actually running a league of their own, just to see if I could use them as an example if you guys want to see what like a fully filled out league sort of looks like. So here's some quick shout outs to our player council league. In first place right now, we have Riggs. They have Damon as what I would call their star quarterback, earning points for them. But they also have Laris Strong and Masseria are also strong picks. They also earned the award for my least favorite team name. They came up with Toes Before Bros. Shout out to Laris. They made some great artwork for their banner. I don't know if you guys are in chat, but if you want to share your banners, feel free. In second place, we have Full House of the Dragon, another great name. This is a Sturks team. Then we've got Artie in third with Dances with Dragons. Wrigley has team Silver Moon Tower in fourth. They have Silverwing, Moon Dancer, Alicent Hightower. So that's kind of the name there. Very creative. And then finally, not to say that I play favorites, but this is my personal favorite team right now. I think it's a crime that they're in last currently. It's Team Rayfire. I did not realize this until we were done doing the draft, but Triv managed to draft every character with Ray in their name. I think there's 3 of them. They drafted both dragons with fire in their name and both the Lannister twins. So they were joking that their team should be called Team 0 Points right now because it's not doing so great. But I just think the synergy of that draft is so good, and I'm really pulling for them in the rest of the season. So yeah, and this was 5 teams in this league, so I added a few extra characters that they could draft so that they could have 4 characters and 2 dragons on each team, and that's like a good balance, I feel. But you can play around with those. Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to our player council a bit and give an example of what a full league would look like, and also just the stands right now. We'll see if they keep these leads that they have, or if things get completely turned upside down as the season goes on. Feel free to have fun with this. Make it your own. It's just for fun. So if you have friends, families, maybe your Allegiance members that you watch the show with, give it a shot. And if you have not already drafted a team, don't feel distraught that the season has already started. You can do this at any time. You can even just do it for a single episode if you wanted to just do it for the finale or something. It's up to you. You can do these at any time. So you just have to decide whether you want to count the episodes that came before or not. And if you do this, I would love to see your team rosters or any fun team names that you come up with, maybe your banners. Throw it over in the Draft of Dragons Discord channel. And who knows, maybe next time I do an update, I'll shout you guys out. Thank you.